everyone, it's Nicky here again, another Pestie Connections. This is a little bit more exciting today because I've headed over to the United States and I've got with me Bobbie Terry and I've got Lisa Botts, who are heavily involved in women in pest control over there, and this is why I've got them on board. So I want to know more about what they do over there, but before I do, just quickly, I'll start with you, Bobbie. What do you do? You've got your own business. Whereabouts are you located over in the United States?
I'm in Austin, Texas, and that's the capital of Texas, and it's an awesome city.
Yeah,
we love it here in Austin.
You're a Bug Lady? Is that the name of your business?
I named my company the Bug Lady because everybody called me the Bug Lady, so I figured I might as well call my company the Bug Lady. They're gonna call me that anyhow. So,
yeah. How did you get into pest control? Was it just, most of us are, either born into it or we fall into it. It's not something that we grow up wanting to get involved in.
I'm from the Midwest of the United States, and I never even heard of pest control until I moved to Texas. But I always worked in shipping and receiving and inventory control and that kind of work. And I was actually without a job and was looking for a job, and there was an ad in the paper from Terminex in North Texas. And so I answered the ad and went in and did a time test and got timed out before the test ended. And I thought to myself, well, I probably won't hear from these people. But 2 days later, I get a phone call and the manager wanted me to come in for an interview. So I did. I went in, sat down, and him and I started talking. And he said, well, I got to ask you, since you've never done this before, how are you going to feel about being around all these bugs and rats and stuff? And I just looked at him and I said, well, I guess if I'm killing them, I'll be okay.
Yeah.
And he laughed and I laughed, and he said, yeah, well, that's about what's going to happen. And I said, well, let me ask you something. I said, I'm surprised you even called me for the interview. And I said, I didn't even finish your test. And he said, well, to be honest with you, you got farther on that test than anybody ever did. And I said, well, I guess it's meant to be then, isn't it? And he hired me. And
I love how he goes, how do you feel about working with bugs and, it's creepy crawlies, not about how you're going to go working with the blokes. That wasn't even an issue. It was just how you're going to go with working with the bugs. And when was that, Bobbie? How long ago was that?
That was back in 1994.
So you've been doing it for a while.
Yeah,
you've been around for a while, which we'll talk about that soon. And I'm going to quickly jump over to Lisa, and I want to know a bit more about you, Lisa. So are you based in Texas as well? Are you?
Yes, I'm based in Houston. It's about 3 hours away from Bobbie. It's a big international city. Our biggest problem out here, of course, is bed bugs. They're everywhere because we have an international airport. I started my company in 2017, but I've been doing it since 2009.
Okay, yeah. And the name of your company is?
Peacock Pest Prevention. I named it that because I peacock about being a woman in this industry. I'm very proud of it.
I love it.
So that's why I picked the name.
Yeah, I absolutely love it. So how did you two girls meet? How did you, was it through, we're gonna start talking about women in pest control. So I'm assuming that's how you girls met, or did you know each other before that started?
We met on a chat group on Facebook, a page on Facebook called Pest Cemetery.
Yep.
And we were in there, and
Jerry.
With Jerry.
Yep.
With Jerry. Yep.
And Bobbie got in a heated discussion with the gentleman who was not being very kind, and I defended her, and Bobbie got very, very upset and private messaged me, and she said, "Screw it, I'm just going to start my own group." And I said, "Okay, I'll join you." And so Women in Pest Control was born. Yeah.
Yeah. You gotta love the politics of those groups, don't you? I mean, we get it here in Australia, and yeah, it's so frustrating because we all start these groups originally because you want to be able to connect with other pest controllers and pesties and help each other out, and then you get slammed for saying something or asking a question, and it gets quite frustrating. But I I want to go into Women in Pest Control. That is the name of the group that you started on your own. What I love about this with you girls is it is women only in your group, isn't it? It's
Yes.
all just women. And I believe you've got something like 1.2 thousand members in that group that have joined.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. We're 1,200 members strong.
And this blows my mind because I look at, obviously I'm a member of that group as well. I love reading the content that goes up, and there's a lot of conversations that go in your group, great conversations. Also, I'm a part of many other women pest control groups worldwide, and and I'll use PWIPM, the Professional Women in Pest Management, who I'm a big fan of. But they've got something like 1.5 members in that group, but that's actually men and women.
Yeah,
that's in that group. So I look at the percentages there, and I look at, you've got 1.2 and they're all women. Like, that just gobsmacks me. That really does. Why do you think that is? Why? Because you really have got quite a big following, you two ladies, in that group. Why do you think that is?
I think it's because it's the only place you can talk without being judged.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the feedback I get is that everybody's so happy that they can ask a question and get an answer and not get put down for it.
Yeah, not feel like you're feeling stupid for asking the question. And
right.
And I will say, when I started with Women in Pest going back 4 years ago, I know you in particular, Bobbie, you've always been, I guess, I wouldn't say a bit of a fan, but you've followed and been a big supporter. And I've really only realised how much in the last probably 6 months, how much of a big supporter you have been of me and of, some of the women over here in Australia. So I thank you for that. I really thank you for that. And I'm really glad that we connected, because we have spoken before. I've gotten on with you girls just a few weeks back, and we had a really good conversation. And then I think Bobbie and I stayed on a bit longer, Lisa. We've been on for about 2 hours, and we could have just kept talking. We really could have. So
I had to go feed the dogs, or I wouldn't have got off.
Yeah, the dogs they were getting hungry.
Yeah.
I was really excited to get you on and actually record something and want to put it out there. And what I do want to get into is, you guys are independent, which I love. This is obviously Women in Pest over here, which I've founded over here, is independent. So we don't come under any other body or any other any other big body association. We are independent. You guys are independent, which I absolutely love.
Yeah.
Why?
Totally.
Yeah, I think what are the benefits you find by, apart from, I guess, you get to decide what you do, what you say, what happens within that group. What are the benefits you are finding with being completely independent, not being under, like the National Pest Managers Association?
I think go ahead, Bobbie. Go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
I think one of the biggest things is exactly like you said. We can talk about whatever we want to. Yeah. We don't have to toe a party line about anything. I mean, I appreciate NPMA. They are our voices in Washington. They are our advocates. They do help us keep pesticides available, and they fight for those things that we need. Yeah. But when there is a conversation in our group about a pesticide, there's no cutting it off, because the NPMA doesn't feel that way. Yeah. We can talk about whatever we want, and we can even bash the NPMA if we want to, because let's be honest, there's some things that they aren't doing. There's not, in my personal opinion, the cost of being a member of that group. I should see more advertising. I should see more making us look like professionals. Yeah. I don't see NPMA outside of Pest World and the magazines. Yeah, it's the only time I ever see them. Other than that, I don't even know they exist. There's no ads on TV. There's nothing I don't see it anywhere else. I would like to see them advocating this as a profession and elevating us to HVAC and plumbers, and so we can start commanding more money. Yeah, because people still look at us as baseboard jockeys. And any guy chucking a truck can do this, and I think that it should be the NPMA's primary focus outside of legislating to save our chemicals should be to promote the professionalism behind the career.
Yeah. And I totally understand that, because, you know, we're worlds apart, and exactly the same thing, you know, same issues we're having over here. And it is, you know, it is very frustrating. And but I am, you know, I am still a big supporter of the NPMA, and I've attended, you know, many Pest World conferences, which I've absolutely loved. I wouldn't be where I am now if I hadn't attended that, my very first one, which was in Orlando. And you know, and I've created some great relationships with many people within PWIPM over there. And but yeah, same reason, I guess, why I've sort of gone out independently. And when I say you know, we have a committee. It's not just me. It's we've got a committee of women, and we all get together and make the decisions, which is great. And you've probably just seen too, you know, we've now branched out. We've got a chapter in New Zealand, and then obviously I've just come back from Fiji. We've set up a chapter over in South Pacific, and it is such a really good feeling, a really great feeling to be working with those ladies, you know, overseas. And but I want to get into your conference now, because this is a big thing for me. You ladies, you pretty much started the very first Women in Pest conference that I know of. I watched it. This was going back a couple of years ago. I watched it when you were launching it, and thinking to myself, oh, if I had the money back then, I would have jumped on a plane and gone over, because there was nothing like that. You know,
that would have been awesome. Yeah, I mean, it started out in 2017. We started as a group in 2017. In January of 2019, I just put a message. We had like 280 members. I put a message out on the group. How many of you ladies would like to get together for a meet and greet? And oh my God. I mean, I started getting messages. Lisa started getting messages like, what can we do to help? What do you need? Let's do this. Let's do this. Blah, blah, blah. And the next thing we know, Lisa's like, hey, I've got to make this a business. I can't make it a 501c that quickly. We've got to make it a business so we can take in all this money, because people are wanting to sponsor us. So next thing we know, it's turning into a full-blown conference. And so
I never knew I was going to be a conference planner on top of running.
You're now a professional event organizer, Lisa.
Yeah. I change industries. I can put that beside my name too.
So I told Lisa, I said, I don't care where the rest of them are. I said, but the first one's got to be right here in Austin, Texas. It's got to be. So I started looking for a venue, and I've got the Marriott, Hilton. What was it? The Hilton, I think it was.
I think it was a Hilton Garden Inn.
Yeah,
it was a Hilton Garden Inn.
Hilton Garden Inn by Marriott, but they didn't have a requirement that you had to buy so much food. You know, from them. I actually asked them if I could bring in my own caterer, and they said, yeah, but I had to pay an extra $250. Which wasn't the problem, because I still saved money.
Absolutely.
So I got a caterer to cater barbecue, which is big in Texas, of course.
Yeah.
And
here in Aussie too.
for $10 a plate. Okay.
Okay. Wow. Yep.
So I got the caterer for $1,000. And then they gave me a deal on the rooms, because we did it in August, because they don't have meetings in August, and they said that'd be the cheapest time to do it. So I got a really good deal on the rooms for the ladies and the conference rooms for us.
They made it affordable, and that's a big thing, making it affordable for the ladies to actually attend, because you know, it's not cheap to attend big conferences like Pest World. That is not cheap, and a lot of small businesses can't afford to attend those big conferences.
And we only charge $20 for registration.
The first time we charged $20 for registration. The second year we charged $100. This year we charged $200, but it was also, it went from a 1-day conference to a 2-day conference. But the big goal is to always have it affordable to the people who want to attend. Which is a challenge, because, you know, the bigger the group gets, the bigger the event gets, the larger space we need, and the larger hotels with big conference areas and have all kinds of, you know, catering contracts, and you have to have this much in room nights and this much in this and this much in that. And so the expense can get out of hand very, very quickly,
Yeah.
which is why our third one, we were shooting for Vegas because we did the first one in Austin, the second one in Houston, easy on Bobbie, easy on me. And then we were shooting for Vegas because historically Vegas had pretty inexpensive air flights.
Yeah.
Anywhere in the country.
Historically.
Because everybody's going to go gamble. So
Right.
they get you there for free, or as close to it as they can. But post-COVID, those rates were not. I mean, it
No.
was really expensive to fly there.
Crazy.
So we wound up having to stay in Houston again.
Yeah.
Just because our backup to Vegas was Nashville, and Nashville has become the it destination. And now there's no rooms available there. We couldn't get a reasonable room rate. That was the other big thing. We wanted the ladies who attended to be able to have reasonable room rates. And in Nashville, $280 a night is reasonable.
Yeah.
And in Vegas, it's $59 a night. So the hotel room was inexpensive in Vegas, and the flights were inexpensive in Tennessee. So we just kept it in Houston.
And you find too, like, I think when the first one is so successful, because I want to thank you ladies, by the way, because you've created a lot of work for me, because I seen what you girls were doing. And then I thought, well, we could do that over here. So, of course, I started the leadership conference, a women's leadership conference, and it took off. It was so successful, and we did it during COVID. But what I have found, and you probably ladies are finding too, because the first one is so successful, you got to bring the standard up. Like, you think, well, what are we going to do now to make it a little bit better than the last one? Because people are expecting so much. And so I'm now under pressure because as we speak, we're organising our leadership conference for next year. And boy, oh boy, am I under pressure, because I need to get those good speakers in. I need to, it needs to be better than last year, because, the expectations is quite high. And same problems we're having here. It's when we first had our very first one last year, we got it so cheap because it was during COVID. And keynote speakers, they weren't able to travel, around the world. I was able to get, world keynote speakers in who normally charge $10,000 plus. And, I was getting them in for between $1,500 and $3,000 per speaker. And that's a big drop in price. It's a huge drop. Where now everyone's traveling again. Prices have gone up. And so we are now just in the process of organising, well, what are we going to be charging our delegates now? Because, our prices have gone up.
You can probably get some speakers over here. All you got to do is pay for the airfare and give them a room.
Oh, don't you worry. I'm already onto it. I'm already onto that. I've spoken to a number of international speakers, and
I bet Janet Hurley would love to do that.
Who is it?
Janet Hurley with A&M.
Okay.
She's with Texas A&M Extension Agriculture. She does IPM for schools.
Okay, yeah.
Freaking awesome.
I'll get her details. I'll bet, so we've locked in pretty much most of our speakers, but I've still got some slots left. And so thank you very much, ladies. My life is so busy now because of you. And,
well, you're very welcome. I mean, anytime we can help,
But I did see it because you got such big coverage on that very first one. Like, it did go into, I think it was the PCT magazine, which I seen online, and that's what, drew me to it. And
it was actually PMP magazine, and you can get them to cover too. What we did was Lisa got them we gave them a booth.
Yep.
And what else was it? Just a booth? And
they had a booth and entrance to the conference for two representatives. And in return, they gave us 3 months worth of advertising prior to the conference.
Yeah, which is basically
what
I do. Yeah,
and an article after. In fact, our article is coming out in November in that magazine.
Oh, good. I'll share that. I'll share that article. All right. So you've started the women's conference, which thank you. I think that's, it was a big game changer in just not over there in the US, but I think worldwide it opened many people's eyes. But Bobbie, you've got an award named after you, a humanitarian award. I'm big on awards, as you ladies know. I love my awards. To me, I founded the original Professional Women's Excellence Award 4 years ago, purely just to promote women in our industry. We weren't getting promoted in our industry. I didn't know any other women, and I didn't know who to look up to, or I didn't know much about anyone. So the award over here was a big game changer, because we started realizing how many great women were in our industry. But the humanitarian award, I want to know a bit about that, because that's named after you, Bobbie. Why you named it after you, and tell me the process of that award.
Well, I wanted it named after me since I actually, founded the group, and then of course I'm close to retirement. I mean, I could already retire, but I haven't done it yet. So, but hopefully, in the next year or two, and we all live forever.
Yeah.
So this way, my name lives on, and the group lives on, and but when it first came about, Lisa and I talked about it, and we both basically at the same time said, well, I said, I know how I wanted to go to. And she's like, yeah, we both said at the same time. Patty Whitten.
You had it in your mind. You didn't actually have to say the name.
No, we both knew exactly who it was going to, the first one, because Patty Whitten is one hell of a lady. I mean, she is so involved in pest control. She's so involved in dog rescue. She works with the Great Pyrenees Rescue. She works with the legislation, trying to pass stuff, make it safer for dogs. And now I just found out that she's going to be involved in the San Antonio Pest Control Association. So I don't know how the lady has time for anything, but she surely deserved this first award.
Yeah.
Which we gave last year. And then the second one we gave to a lady who is retired from the business, but has been in the business many, many years. And her community went through the Oregon fires in Oregon, in the state of Oregon. And she worked tirelessly helping with that. And in spite of the fact that she had to evacuate her own home, and that didn't matter to her. She was helping her community. So
too busy worrying about everyone else. Yep.
Several letters about her. And we had somebody else that was nominated also, but
we have to pick
ultimately it's my decision. So
I actually like that, because it's I've changed things a little bit here on how we do it. So originally when we launched the Excellence Award, we had a nomination process and then a judging process. So we had 10 judges for the one award, and it would be 5 judges that would go through the applications, and out of those applications we would get our finalists, and we had around about 6 finalists, and then the 6 finalists would then go to a judging panel, a Zoom session just like this, and there would be 5 judges all looking at them and and asking them questions. And so there was actually a lot involved, and COVID actually did us a huge favor with the award over here, because when it was first launched 4 years ago, we announced it at the National Pest Conference on the stage, which was great. I think there was only about 350 people or 400 people at the actual dinner, which was great. But then COVID hit, and we sort of thought, how the hell are we going to announce this award now because of the winner? Because we don't have a stage, because we're all in lockdown. And that's when I sort of come up and said, well, we need to promote these girls. That's the reason we started this award in the first place. So we started doing the video premieres. Like, we actually did it all by video, and hired professional videographers to come in, and that was one of the best things that we did, because we had the first year that we announced that we were going to announce it on a video premiere on social media. We had 66 nominations come in for the award. It was just crazy, because they didn't have to attend the dinner. So one of the criteria of being nominated and accepting their nomination was that you had to attend the actual gala dinner for the National Pest Conference, obviously, because we want the winner to be there.
Same with us.
So taking that away, it sort of opened it up. So we had like 66 nominations come through. Like, whoa, we've got to go through 66 applications, and it was a massive job. But when we premiered that first year, and we did a countdown, and I could see people logging on as we were announcing the winner, and we had 1,000 people log on as soon as the premiere hit on social media. And then obviously you know, over time, more and more people watched it because it was still up. So COVID did us a huge favor, and that's something that we've kind of continued every year. And I know with we're now going to be announcing all our awards at our own conference now. We're not going to be doing it at the national conference. We're doing it at our own women's conference, and we're going to be doing all the awards, but doing the same thing. Will be announced on the stage, but we will also be doing a video premiere as well.
Oh, cool.
That way, you know, the entire industry can see. They can actually see what's going on. So, but I love the fact that yes, you've had that named after you, Bobbie, because you know you've put so much work into the industry, into the group, as well as Lisa, and knowing that that name is always going to be on the award, I think it is really special. So, yeah, thank you for all, you know, the work that you girls are doing over there. I want to know who inspires you, ladies. I'll start with you, Lisa. Who inspires you in the industry?
Believe it or not, Judy Black.
Yeah.
I went to work for Stereotech, and Judy Black was, I think she was technical director or something, but it was the first time that I ran into a woman in the industry who had as much knowledge and experience as Dr. Ron. So I started with Orkin, and then I went to Stereotech, and Dr. Ron was the everything at Orkin. He was the one you went to with any question. You couldn't recognize a bug, you sent it to Dr. Ron.
Yep.
So when I went to Stereotech, their version was Judy Black.
Yeah.
And it was so exciting to me that there was a woman in that position. I was really, really excited. And she was a wonderful person. You could just pick up the phone or shoot her an email, and she always had time, and she was just a fount of knowledge. And now I believe she's with Orkin now, because Stereotech doesn't exist anymore.
Yep.
But
she's still around. She's still there.
Yeah, she is. I still see her published in the magazines all the time.
Yeah, awesome. What about you, Bobbie? Is there anyone that inspires you in the industry? I mean, it can be male or female.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, not in the beginning. I mean, I just, you know, started out with Terminex, worked for them for a couple of years, and there was a gentleman that trained me with Terminex, and then he ended up going to Orkin, and I ended up going to Orkin, and at Orkin, I mean, I want, and Lisa did too, I'm sure. We won all kinds of awards at Orkin. And in Orkin, you get certificates and you get little plaques, and
they have their own internal
probably
awards.
the only company that I've ever worked for that really ever recognized anybody, but they didn't have a choice because the numbers showed everything, you know.
Yeah.
So, you know, your numbers are good, then you get recognized. Then I'm left there and went to work for a small mom and pop company out of Houston just to get some nighttime experience. And I ended up meeting a guy at the Buceras, where we were picking up our chemicals. And just a really cool guy, and his name was Mari Fuqua. And he worked for Holders Pest Control out of Houston, which was owned by, and I'm sure you've heard of this company, Copasan.
I haven't, but I'll look it up now. I will look it up.
Copasan is a big company and big, huge national company. And what they actually did was they actually owned 2 pest control companies. But then they partnered with companies throughout the United States to do their national accounts, such as Starbucks and Jack in the Boxes and Targets and Home Depots and things like that. But anyhow, I met Mari, and him and I kind of hit it off. And he's just a crazy guy. And I told him, I said, if you ever get an opening, holler at me. So about 3 months after that, he called me. He says, I got an opening. I'm ready to hire you. And I said, okay. So we did all the process, and he hired me, and I worked for him for 10 years at Holders.
Wow.
And he inspired me so much because he's so good. I mean, I'd already been in the business like 7 years when I met him, and I learned more from him that first year, especially about rodents, than anybody ever taught me. And he always told me that, you know, that I was good. He always appreciated me. I was a top selling tech in the company in sales, and he always inspired me to, he's the one that inspired me to really go out on my own. Once we had management change at Holders, and they fired him and he started his own company. Then a year later, I started mine by his inspiration. So I can thank him for that, for a lot of things.
That's fantastic. You're not, so you don't go out in the road, do you, Lisa? Are you more office based in your business, or you
I
out there
actually
in the
do
field?
go out on the road.
Yep.
I don't run a full route, but I do go out on the road. Like if somebody's sick, I cover for them, or if they're
Yep.
on vacation, I'll run their route. I do all of the rodent exclusion. I do bat work, any of the fun stuff.
Yeah.
I don't do the general pest control, but I do ride along with my technicians on a regular basis. I try to make sure that we're always following the best protocol and that I'm keeping up with them. And it's a really tight knit group. I mean, it's mostly family and my best friend. So there's 5 of us. It's me, my daughter, my husband, her husband, and my best friend. That's the company. So it's not like it's.
Do you get any work done?
I don't know.
I'd be too busy gassing.
We do. That's the nice thing about it is we're all in our own vehicles. So
yeah. Well, I actually don't go out in the field at all. Purely office space. Well, to be honest, I don't even work in my own business anymore. My daughter's taken over my role, and I'm doing Women in Pest full time. As you know, we had this discussion, Lisa. I think you asked me a few weeks back, how do you find the time, because you're trying to run your own business, and you know, how do you find the time to be organising sponsors and conferences and dealing with everything, and you just physically can't. You can't physically be working full time on an association that is voluntary when you're running your own business. So it's I nearly killed myself when I started 4 years ago, because you know I had to do a lot of it after hours, and then you know I started employing other people to start doing my work in the office, so I could spend more and more time working with Women in Pest, and it really is purely it's just something that I love to do. It's not something I make money out of. It costs me money. But I get so much out of it because I get to meet so many different amazing women, like right now with you ladies, and I've already said I will make the effort, and I will get to it's 2024. You're going to be running the next conference. That's great. It gives me time to organise myself to get over there. But one of the biggest things for me, that I've really taken away from all of this, and that's just when I've just come back from Fiji, and setting myself up with Asita Devidio. I mean, look her up, lady. She is one amazing lady who does so much work over there. She's got over 50 staff on in her business, Fastkill, and 50% of them are females, and they're all out there working in the field. And I got to meet a lot of them when I was over there, and got to speak to them, and what what Asita does. We're having an interview with the Fiji Times actually, and I didn't realize this, and I've known her for 4 years. I've known Asita for 4 years, and it's the first time I realized that why she employs so many female staff, because the Fiji Times actually asked her, and they said, why do you employ so many females when there's so many males that are available over here to do the job? But she goes, I employ them because I give them a safe haven. She said, this is a safe haven for these women who work for me. And that actually hit me really hard. It really actually hit me because I think it was the first time that I sort of stood there and I thought, this is why I do what I do. This is why I get involved with so many different women, just not in the pest industry, outside. But I came home last night and I got a parcel. I don't know if you've seen it. I know we're friends on Facebook, Bobbie, but I got a T-shirt sent to me from some of the women in the group, with their stupid faces on the back saying, we've got your back. And I just, when I pulled it out and looked at it, I actually just burst into tears. Because and I'm thinking, oh my God, this is just a T-shirt. What is wrong with me? But I think I'd spent a whole week over in Fiji working with these women and understanding their lives and what they go through, and just the different culture. Every time they walk past me, they apologise as if they were annoying me because they walk past me, and I'm like, I'm in your way. You don't need to apologise. And I think it just all hit me all at once, and then I've come home and I've opened that box and just sort of realised how many people appreciate the work that I have been doing. And it literally, I just burst into tears and I had to go into my room for a bit and just sat there and sobbed for a bit. So I'm all good now. I've gotten over that.
It's pretty special when somebody recognizes you and wants and cares about what you do, and then wants to send you something that you know would be precious to you. Just like, for instance, Ruth Leo with Target Specialty Products told me, she says, "Hey, I sent you a present." And I said, "Okay." And I said, "Let me know when you got it." And so it actually happened to be a picture of me and my dog that was on Facebook, and she had it put on canvas. And sent it to me. It's like, wow, that is just so awesome.
It is nice. It is nice to, I guess, to get something back. Not that you look, I've never ever done it to get something back. But
no, me either.
Realize that
you know something back.
You know, there's other people who are really, you know, appreciative of the work that you are doing. And that's one of the reasons I wanted to get you two ladies on, because I know the work involved, what goes on behind the scenes. And, you know, basically there's really two of you. Like, I've got a team of, gosh, I think there's 8 or 9 of us now, which includes New Zealand and South Pacific. But, you know, I've got a team of 8 or 9 women that I can ring up and say, "Hey, I need your help. I need this, you know, can you do this and can you do that?" And I have to delegate, because there's no way I could do all this on my own. It's just,
well, that's one of the reasons why we're not doing another conference in 2023, because we've gotten to the point where we're large enough that we have got to get a group of those ladies together to be our backbone. So we're working on putting together a council, our committees, or, you know, however we decide to call it, and get the help that we need to grow this, because it can only grow so big when it's just me and Bobbie. And there's only so much we can do and still run our business. And I'm not in a position to, my business isn't big enough for me to step away from it yet. It's almost, but not quite. So it's gonna, and the other thing is I don't want to leave my business. I love my business. I built it. It's my baby. So, so we're going to put together a council of volunteers, and hopefully what we want to do is change the timbre of the conference a little bit and make it more women centric and less pest centric. So there are a gazillion places where you can go get your CEUs. A lot of them are even free, your continuing education credits. And some of them are even free. So for us to be offering the same thing that you can get at your local distributor for free, it doesn't make sense, and it's not a draw. So one of the things we want our committee to do is to look at more interesting speakers and more interesting topics, and let's widen the horizon, and bring in more, just update the topics a little bit. So it's less like going to Pest World Light, you know, and more women in pest control. Historically, the biggest problem we have is finding the line between letting men in and not. Because when we started, it was all women only. And I'm sorry, I'm getting over the flu.
I had the same issue a few months back.
So when I talk a lot, it starts the cough happening. But the biggest problem we're having is finding the line between where do we let men in and where do we keep them out. We let some men in as speakers this year, and we had pushback from our attendees. But when we keep the men out as vendors, we get pushback from our vendors. So there's a balance that needs to be made. And I think that having a council and having more women involved in the decision-making process makes that decision-making a lot more fair. It's not just me and Bobbie's opinion anymore. It's what the women in the group want. And so that's where I think we're leading this towards, you know, towards growth.
And it definitely does, you know, it does help having, you know, I find with me, I actually don't like making the decisions, because I think if I make the wrong decision, it all falls back on me. So, you know, I can put ideas out there, and I tell them why I think it's going to work. And look, because the girls trust me so much, a lot of the time they go, yes, we will go with whatever you're saying. But then I deliberately choose people who've come onto our committee that have different opinions, because I don't want everyone to agree with what I say. I want different ideas, and I want people to put their hand up and go, I think it's a great idea, but I think there's a better way of doing that, or we should do this. And that's what I do love about my committee. They're all quite strong, and they will put their hand up and not always agree with what I say. And I actually do like that, because I then sit back and go, actually, what they're saying is, I kind of get that. But at the time when I was thinking about doing this, it sounded like a great idea. But we have the same issue. Look, I actually do have some male speakers at our conference, and the women love it. I try and put it in a way where I go, our biggest supporters are men in the industry. It's mainly our husbands and our employers, and that a lot of them are male, and they're the ones that are supporting us women in the background. But no men are allowed in the actual conference. But I do have men speakers that come in, and
well, that's kind of what we're leaning toward,
Yeah.
and then maybe letting some men vendors come in, of course,
Yeah.
and then there's
Yeah.
that's got to be structural that
Yeah.
things they can and can't do, but that goes for anybody. I mean,
yeah,
we actually had a problem with a woman on the first year, so
yeah.
that was a vendor, and that
Yeah.
was inappropriate. But
There's always something that goes wrong. There's
Yeah,
always something.
And that's one of the things, what the council's got to talk about, making this a little more, it's a little less, hey, let's have a meet and greet, and a little more professional now.
Yes.
And so
Yeah.
where's our contract? Where's our lines? Where's our
Yeah.
codes of conduct for the people who are attending, the code of conduct for the people who are vending, the code of conduct for our sponsors? Because once they're on site, there's a certain level of professionalism we need people to maintain.
Absolutely.
Especially if they're representing. And so the ability to remove them
Yep.
has got to be in there. And in the past, when we had an issue, we didn't have the ability to remove them.
Yes. Yeah.
And so we've got to make sure that that going forward, it needs to be much more professional and much less thrown together, which is why that committee is so important, is to help grow it the right
Yeah.
way.
I think it's going to make a huge difference for us.
I do too.
Absolutely. Well, if we can be of any help over this end, I know we'll be keeping in touch anyway. Bobbie and I have said, like, we feel like we're friends. We've never met face to face yet, but so I can't wait to get over there. And I do hope you girls will take me out on the road, because I would love to see what you ladies do. And I do get my hands dirty every now and then. I did have to get dirty and go under a subfloor in Fiji. That just about killed me, but I did it, and only because everyone over here wanted to see it, and I thought, oh, all right, I'll do it. But I would love to connect with you girls over there, outside of the conference as well, and see what you girls do in your business. And definitely, obviously us being quite independent, you girls are independent. I think that we can really help each other out, and if we can be of any help, give us a hoy. Like, I've got heaps of time apparently.
Oh yeah, right.
Don't we all?
Yeah. Well, I want to thank you, ladies. I mean, we could stay on here all morning, but I know that I've got to work for the rest of the day. You girls will be getting ready to go for getting dinner and going to bed soon, probably. And I want to thank you both sincerely. It's been really, really good, and giving up your time, jumping on here, and we'll keep in contact. And
well, thank you for supporting us and reaching out and interviewing us and being who you are, because you're awesome.
Thank you. I think the same with you girls. I'm intimidated by you ladies. I think I'm getting nervous jumping on with you.
No. Never let anybody intimidate you.
Never let anybody intimidate
you. Put your pants on the same way we do, babe. One leg at a time.
I'll let you on a secret, because I've just got out of bed. I've actually got my shorts on underneath this. So I'll look professional from here up. But at least
I've been sick all week. I'm in a hoodie and pajama pants. Come on.
Well, I just got home, so I'm still in uniform.
I quite often, if I'm working from home, I have my pajama pants on, but I've got this on at the top. No one knows anything. Thank you very much, ladies, and I can't wait to keep in contact with you and see where you go from here.
Sounds good.